Hello, hello. It's Business Partner, Unit 7, Working Abroad, Lesson 7.1, Global Work Cultures, Part A. Global Work Cultures. Especially big companies and multinational companies have some people that are from other countries and working in their branches. And it's growing, this movement. People want to go to other countries to live and work. Some people are invited to go to other countries. What is involved when other people travel and try and start living in another country to work? Well, to start, it's very different from tourism. When you travel for fun, you experience tourist spots, local culture, everything. But when you live in another country, you are exposed for many, many months, weeks, days, and to many people. And it's very different from just visiting a place. This video is about this. These two videos are about global work cultures, the aspect of moving to live and work in another country. So if you ever considered moving to another country, if you plan to move to another country, if you like the idea of traveling, this video is for you. If you work in a big international, multinational company, this video is for you. So I hope we can have a very nice experience working together in this video. Well, what do we have here? Imagine imagine three things that people would experience if they moved to your country. As you know, I'm from Brazil, and here people like to communicate. Most people do. We like the idea of working in teams, and well, the food is wonderful and it's multicultural here. If you go to northeast Brazil, you find a kind of culture. If you go to the south, where I'm living at the moment, you find a different kind of culture. So there are many Brazils, people would say, and I believe you would find many positive things in everywhere in Brazil if you ever come to visit or live here. But what about your country? What would people find if they moved to your country? I'd like to know. Why don't you write in the comments? By the way, why don't you go and strike the like button, please, and subscribe to the channel. Regarding to food, sports, daily life, behavior, and weather, what people would find in your country. What would you be worried about if you would move to another country? What would you miss most if you left your country to live in another one? What would you worry about when arriving to a different country with different culture? Why don't you write to us in the comments? Because this is very interesting. Well, the first exercise is connected to experiences. Have you ever worked or studied abroad? Or do you know someone who has? Describe your or their experience, and did you or they experience culture shock? Culture shock is when the target or the other culture is very different from yours and it's hard to adapt. I have a friend that worked with me, Mastici. He went to the US and he's living there for several years. and he loves American culture. He loves the United States, and he's really happy living there. I have another one that's a student. He's staying in the United States. He's working for 2 months, and then he will stay for an extra month or 2 extra months there. He is loving the experience. All right, so this is my experience, not mine, but my friends' experiences. And you, do you have an experience to share? Tell me, tell us in the comments. If you were going to relocate to work or study abroad, what would you do to prepare? Preparation is very nice. For example, do you know the language? Do you know basics of their cultures? Do you know places to visit? Because you will be there, you can do some tourism, right? What could be interesting if you moved to study or stay in another country? Look at some ideas. Learn the language. The first one everybody says. Get to know the culture from reading travel cultural guides and watching documentaries. Look for accommodation before you go, right? Find a suitable international school for your children, if you are taking your children. Open a bank account in that country. Prepare to move house, pack your suitcases, go on a short trip to check out the location before relocating. Sign up with a networking group to meet new people when you get there. So you see, these are some very practical ideas on how to arrive in a new place and not to have such a cultural shock. Very good, very sound advice. If people from another country come to study, work in your organization, what are the most important cultural differences they need to be aware of? Now we are talking about the idea of working with you and other people in that organization. But let's think. For example, it depends on the country, right? Where they come from. If someone comes from another Latin country, and by the way, some people don't know that Brazil is from a Latin origin, from Portugal, France, and mostly Portugal. But usually people refer to Latin cultures as Spanish background. People from Mexico, Argentina, Colombia, but Brazil is also a Latin country, but sometimes people forget that, or they even don't know. So there's maybe a closer relationship, or the cultures are more similar, although in Brazil we don't speak Spanish, we speak Portuguese. And well, what else? There are some differences regarding timetables, local customs, traditions, festivals, food and drink, etiquette when communicating with other people. Like, for example, do you shake hands? Do people bow? Do people kiss when greeting? Working times, meal times, etiquette when eating out, making eye contact, personal space when talking to people, things to do or not to do when traveling on public transport. Regarding eye contact, it's interesting because Brazilians tend to look in the eyes. That's eye contact, right? It varies in other cultures. I remember I met an Englishman. He was an elderly, and well, he would look at my eye and he would move to a side. And then he would look at my eyes and look to the other side. And then he would move the eyes like this. and he would smile, a very nice person. I got to know him better later, and he was such a nice person. Eric Britton from England. But it was funny or different from Brazilian culture because we keep looking at the eyes of the person, and it might sound or look uncomfortable or awkward to some people because it seems that we are staring to the person, and that's not our attitude or our idea. We are just making eye contact. If people stare here, they don't change their face like they're that's staring, and that's awkward, right? That's really awkward. I think it is. Well, after that, we have this video that is really nice. You have access to the video because you have the book. And the video is very nice because it shows 4 people, and we don't have the names. You have to find the names in the video. And those speakers are talking about their countries, some aspects of their countries. And we have 10 countries here, and we only have 4 people. So, you know, some of the countries are not used. Oh, really? So we have here Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Denmark, Germany, New Zealand, Poland, Sweden, the Netherlands, and Ukraine. Let's you can watch the video. We are around, I'm going to cut the beginning, so we are at 12 minutes, around 12 minutes. You can pause this video, watch the other video, this video from the book, and return to answer the questions here, okay? So I'm going to keep recording. You can just pause and return here. Well, we have these 4 people. Who are they? They're basically 4 very nice people talking about their places. Number 1 is Evelyn. She's from Germany, as you saw that. Number 2 is Hannah from Poland. No, it's Rodrigo. Rodrigo from Brazil. We don't say Rodrigo. We say Rodrigo. Rodrigo is from Brazil. Then there's number 3. That's Marcus from Sweden. And finally, we have Hannah from Poland. The interesting thing is that they're sharing their real experiences about how it works in their countries. And this is fantastic because people don't want to be rude, people don't want to be unwelcoming, but they want to. Now, people have their cultures, and it's okay. And if you are moving to another one, you have to adapt. You can't simply correct everybody because you think that your standards are the right ones and that they are wrong. No, they aren't. We aren't. If people come to Brazil, we're just different in some ways. So let's learn how to do well, how to behave and how to communicate and how to understand people from another culture. Well, after watching the first time and understanding their names and their countries, we watch again the video, so you can pause. It's around 14 minutes in the video if you want to pause, and you can watch again because now we have very good questions. What may employees need to do when working for international companies? Why is working abroad not the same as traveling for pleasure? What might happen after you break the ice and get to know a German person well? What do Brazilians tend to be like? What did Marcus find difficult but fun in England? right? Why is it acceptable in Poland to say yes, no, and not to say thank you and please so much? Very interesting, very interesting. You know, break the ice, right? Maybe people were like distant, and then you go and you are able to say a joke or to start a real communication with a person. And then you start being more friendly, the person starts to be more friendly. It happens, and it's good when it happens, right? Well, we have here the first question. Why may employees need to do? When working for international companies, they usually relocate to offices in different countries. They don't stay in their original office because they're moving to an international brand, right? Why? It can happen if you work in an international company. It can happen that you move to another one. Why is working abroad not the same as traveling for pleasure? Because it brings challenges. Foreign professionals have to learn about cultural issues, customs, etiquette. They may find the way people communicate and interact at work is different. Like if you are a tourist, they treat you somehow. If you are working in a company, they will treat you differently according to maybe more directly, I don't know. For example, I learned something about Japanese culture. If you are Japanese, please tell me if it's true, if it is this way, that if you're offering someone something, you should give with both hands to show that it comes from your heart. If you offer this way in Japan, it wouldn't be very polite. It could be considered rude. So if I ever go to Japan and I want to give someone something, I will give with both hands. It doesn't work this way in Brazil. If they give you something, they probably want to give you that, and it doesn't mean anything different if you give with one or two hands. So if you are Japanese and come to Brazil and someone gives you, oh, can you hand me a pen? And they give you this way, it's okay. They wanted to help you with a pen. If they give you this way, then the person wouldn't like to lend you the pen. What might happen after you break the ice and get to know a German person well? They will be your friend for life, forever, if they make friends with you, right? So don't be afraid if people are a bit distant in Germany. People are nice people, right? And they will make friends with you if you are able or they work to break the ice. Good. What do Brazilians tend to be like? Oops, it's about my country. They tend to be very friendly and communicative. It can be positive, it can be negative. Because imagine a German that wants their space, at least in the beginning, or if they want to work, and Brazilians are, oh, how's it in Germany? I don't know German, I don't speak German, hallo, Entschuldigung. It can be boring, right, for a German person. And Brazilians usually don't know that. What did Marcus find difficult but fun? If you watched the video, saying the wrong things at the wrong time, but learning the language quickly. It happened that he thought he was really fluent. He wasn't that fluent because he learned some nuances, some small changes in meaning of words, but it was fun to learn quickly. Why is it acceptable in Poland to say yes or no and not say thank you and please so much? because Polish people tend to be more direct. Okay, and here we have some sentences mentioned in the video. Who said what? I love this exercise because now after working on the sentences, on the people, on the ideas behind those sentences, we are getting to know the people more or better, and then it sounds like someone we know that are speaking. You can watch the video again, but you could watch the video to check your answers. I thought I was very fluent in English when when I lived at home in his original country. That was Sweden. Yes, it's Marcus from Sweden. But initially, they are a bit more reserved, so don't be put off by that. Don't worry about the words in bold. This is the objective of exercise 5, but try to remember who said those sentences. And who said that? Yes, Germany. Evelyn said that. So don't worry, because Germans are a bit distant in the beginning. Just go on. Leave time to pass, okay? And you will have friends soon. 3. But then, when you actually come to live here, you realize the nuances and phrases that you don't know at all. Who said that? It was Marcus again, because he learned a lot of English when he moved from Sweden to England. Number 4 is easy, right? Because we have already talked about that in exercise 3. The use of thank you and please, it's probably less widely used. So number 4 is Hannah from Poland, right? You always have lunch with someone. You never have your lunch alone. That was Rodrigo from Brazil. Yes, that's it in Brazil. Obviously, it isn't true 100%. There are people that lunch alone, and if you ever come to Brazil, you will be able to eat alone sometimes. 6. You might be a little bit shocked that the Poles tend to be more abrupt, or that's how they will come across. And that's again, it's Poles, the people from Poland, Polish people, they are called Poles. And it's Hannah from Poland, right? Okay, well, the extra activity here is really nice, but I thought it was a bit hard. You have to listen and pause the video to be able to bring with the words, right? You have these. I won't give you the answers for this exercise, but you can watch over and over again. And basically what you have to do is, for example, I'll play the beginning of the video. Let me play it to you.
Multinational companies often require their staff to relocate to offices in different countries or even on different continents. And international experience can be a valuable asset in career development.
All right. Number 1, international experience can be a valuable asset in career development. So this is what we have to do. We have to listen to the audio or to watch the video and complete the gaps. Good. And finally, we have exercise 5, in which we are going to discuss the meaning of these bold words. For example, we have three options for number one, for fluent in English or in another language. Does it mean speak with a native accent? Does it mean to speak a language very well? Or does it mean to speak a language fast? To be fluent isn't to speak like a native with a native accent, does it? No, there isn't. Well, a native accent in the United States has a very different accent from a native in England, for example. I thought that I was very fluent. He could speak a language very well, but then he realized there were many words he didn't know. Two, to be put off by something. To make it difficult for someone to pay attention, to arrange to do something later, or to get demotivated. Look, but initially they are a bit more reserved, so don't get demotivated by that. Keep being yourself and everything will be all right in the end. But when you actually come to live here, you realize the nuances and phrases that you don't know at all. You see, he thought he could speak very well, but he learned a lot by moving to England. And then nuances, slight differences in manner, in color, or in meaning. It's obviously in meaning. We are not talking about the color of the wall, but we are talking about language, the language, words, and so on. I love this. I love. Why don't you write in the comments some examples of words that are almost synonyms, but they bring differences. For example, deal, struggle, cope. They are similar but different. Do you know the difference between these words? 4. The use of thank you and please. It's probably less widely used. Widely used. Common or usual, popular or well-known, or to be found everywhere. Widely used here means common or usual. Okay? Yes, that's it. You always have lunch with someone. You never have your lunch alone. And alone here means feeling unhappy or lonely, without people you know, without help from anyone else. It's be, without people you know, right? Lonely is different because you are sad because there aren't people around you. That's different from alone. To be alone is okay. To be lonely is sad, right? And finally, we have 6. You might be a little bit shocked that Poles tend to be more abrupt. Tend to have a tendency to do something, to be always annoying, or to move in a particular direction. Tend to be more abrupt. They have a tendency to. That's it. Or that's how they will come across. Come across could be meet or find by chance, letter B. Easy for people to understand or seem to have particular qualities. Well, we are talking about behavior here. We're not to be shocked. No, it's not about physical shock. It's not you're not going on a specific direction. It's about tendency to have that behavior, culture. We are talking about this. And then that's how they will come across. They will behave, or they seem to have particular qualities. All right, so this is part A of the lesson. And I hope you liked the video. So if you did, or if you have, because now you have some knowledge probably that you didn't have before the lesson or before the video, why don't you strike the like button and subscribe to the channel? And that would be very polite, and I think this is acceptable in all cultures, like showing you liked the video because it's very nice, this topic about global work cultures. So thanks for watching. Bye bye.